I'm now going to tackle an issue that we seem to delve into at least once a year. Last year it was, it may have been earlier this year. Maybe it's twice a year we delve into this. It's always good fodder. Earlier this year, I can't remember last year, one of the two. We got involved in this conversation that Alabama football players couldn't afford used Dodge Chargers. That Dodge Charger is so unattainable, especially when it's used, that Alabama football players couldn't possibly afford them. I'm not going to go into that again. But today we got questions. You may have seen a couple outlets wrote stories about Jalen Hurts. He took his offensive line out to dinner. I'm not here to say it's cheap. I can't imagine going to Baumhauer's and paying for 10, 12 guys is cheap. It's certainly not. And glad, in fact, I'm glad I didn't have to pull out the Marriott Rewards credit card and pay for it. Although I would have gotten my Marriott Rewards points, and that in and itself is always worthy. But I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it. It's an expensive gesture. But the question started immediately. How does Jalen Hurts afford to take his offensive lineman out to dinner? Well, how do you afford to take your family out to dinner? You've earned money. You've saved it. You spend it. How many people do you think went? Let's say there's 12, right? What would the bill have been? Let's go on the high end and say it was $20 a person. Okay? What are we talking? $240 plus tip? Let's round up. Let's say it was $300. You telling me Jalen Hurts, who's probably had this in mind for a long time, couldn't have saved $400? Is that what you're telling me? And I'm saying $300 is probably on the high end. I don't know exactly how many went, but I know they went to Baumhauer's. The average entree at Baumhauer's is not $20, so I'm going on the high end. I'm going to round it up $300. You're telling me if Jalen Hurts had this in mind, had purposely saved for it, he can't afford $300? My head's going to explode. There are really people asking on Twitter, how does Alabama's quarterback afford to take his offensive lineman out to eat? You're telling me it raises eyebrows when a kid can afford to spend $300 on dinner? Not that he's doing it every night or every week or even every month. He did it once. He did it one time. And it's a pretty time-honored tradition where quarterbacks take care of their offensive linemen since their offensive linemen take care of them throughout the season. He's probably been wanting to do this. He obviously earmarked the funds to do it, saved the money, and then went and did it. And you're telling me there are people questioning whether this kid can pay $300 for a meal one time? Let me tell you something else about Jalen Hurts. His mother has a master's degree. His father is a high school football coach. Jalen's older brother, Avarian, was a college quarterback on scholarship. They didn't have to pay for his college. Guess what Jalen Hurts is on? Scholarship. They don't have to pay for his college. Is it wild to think his parents might have given him some money that he could have paid for this dinner? Or is it wild to think that these players, by the way, can save their own money and take his offensive lineman out there? Are we living in an age where we're really questioning $300 once? It's not like this guy's rolling into Baumhauer's every night on an all-you-can-eat wings buffet gooey fries. That's not what happened. He took him out one time. And there are people legitimately questioning how he has the money to do that. Listen, I'm not here to say everyone's situation is different. I'm not here to diminish the value of $300. $300 is $300, and to some people, that is a lot of money. To some others on the other end of the socioeconomic ladder, $300 is not a lot of money. So I'm not here to say if $300 is a lot of money to you, I'm not trying to take away that value. But I'm saying to think that Jalen Hurts couldn't have saved that money, have been planning this, and then execute it. If you have to legitimately question that, I need you to question how you arrived at that conclusion or how you even arrived at that line of thinking. Do we think that he just, after practice, said, hey, just had a spur-of-the-moment idea. Let's go get something to eat. No. He planned it. And, in fact, Ross Piercebaker, in his interview yesterday at the Alabama football building, said Jalen had planned this. He'd gotten with Ross and some of the veteran offensive linemen and said, I want to do this. What do you think? He planned it. So he can afford $300 for a dinner one time, once a year. He can do it. In fact, if I needed to take all the producers and radio hosts here at Tide 102.9 out to dinner, if I planned far enough in advance, I could do it. Don't get excited, Paradise. We're not rolling into Baumhauers. But if you planned it, you could do it. It's not like you went to Morton's or to Ruth's Chris. He went to Baumhauer's, and this is not to demean Baumhauer's food. It's just American fare. It's standard American fare. And I said I'm estimating he took 12 offensive linemen. He could have taken more. He could have taken less. And I'm estimating that each guy spent $20. That's $240. Rounding up for $300. You don't think he can afford to take his offensive lineman out to dinner? Come on. Come on, let's start using some logic. Logic. We were giving brains. We were given brains. Use some logic. He didn't take them to Chuck's Fish. He didn't take them to Ruth's Chris. He didn't take them to Five. He took them to Baumhauer's. And even rounding up, let's say he spent $300. You're telling me, you're legitimately questioning how a kid who comes from a family where his mom has a master's degree and a father coaches high school football, that he doesn't know the value of money, he can't have saved his money to arrange this? Or is that what you're telling me? Or are you insinuating that a booster showed up in a very popular Tuscaloosa eatery, whipped out a stack of 100s and paid for it? But what are you insinuating when you say, how does he pay for it? What are you insinuating? Are you insinuating that someone paid it for him, like a booster? Are you insinuating that he couldn't have raised his own money?